Welcome to the Small Business Show. Glad to have you here with everybody. Who's here today is female, except for me, so that's an interesting way to start the show.
You are surrounded by females, so I'd run now if I was you, Steve.
I can't. I got mics and stuff. I can't just run. So
it's going to be amazing. It's a panel of women, and they've all got a different story, so it's going to be amazing.
I'm looking forward to it. I think I like doing these panels because we're really get engaged in a lot of conversation, and stuff comes out that I didn't even expect yesterday when we did some stuff that way. So I'm looking really forward to some of these stories. You have a knack for pulling them out.
I do. I just ask the questions nobody else will ask.
Well, as long as we get answers, right? So I think that's what's important, you know. And I think the concept is we've drawn some people from very diverse areas in the particular category we're going to be talking about.
Well,
so I think that adds a lot of value.
They all want to help the viewers on the Small Business Show. So
yeah, so I think that's going to be an interesting show, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
let's do it.
Well, you want to do it again?
I want to do it.
All right. You know, it's fun when we actually get into it, isn't it?
And
right?
I like sitting next to you because last year they separated us.
Yeah, well, maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we fight too much.
Not on camera, you know. Certainly, we don't do that. So I'm really looking forward to getting the show wrapped up today, and we'll get started. And welcome back, and we'll see you in a few minutes. So let's get started. We're going to start with a really excellent show. We're going to do a panel today. And you know, Linda, I think I'll let you do the honors of introducing who we're working with.
Okay then, so we're going to start at the end with Fran, who looks very pretty in pink, and we'll find out a little bit more about you in a minute. And then we've got Nikki, who again looks beautiful in the yellow and black. It's like a fashion show. And then we have Stephanie, who has really coordinated your clothes beautifully. So Stephanie and Nikki and Fran, we asked you along here today because you're all in the business of food, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll start with Fran, and what is your business, my angel, and how long have you been doing it?
Restaurant and bakery, and we're specialized in fresh homemade food, nothing frozen, everything is fresh, and a fresh bakery as well, that I personally do my own baking.
That's amazing. How about you, Nikki?
I own DCA Deliveries. We are the delivery service for the restaurants in Cambridge, essentially, and we do some catering restaurants in Kitchener and Waterloo, and we're going to be opening in Hamilton.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know all about you, but look at you tell us.
let's hear the positive side. Sorry.
I own Little Mushroom Catering and Nom Nom Treats. So we are a full-service event catering company. We do over 70 weddings a year and 700 other events throughout the year. I have, with the Nom Nom Treats, we make cookies in our nut-free kitchen that have company logos on them, or we can do them with people's names and dates for wedding favors.
Just one quick question before I hand you over to Steve. He's got some good questions. How many people do you now employ?
We have 39 right now. We'd like that to be 40. We're still looking for one more.
That round
And how
number,
about
yeah.
you, Nikki?
I think it was about 18, give or take.
24 employees.
This is amazing. You know, small business does count. You've got some really great questions.
Yeah, I do. So let's get into it. So what I'd like to do is dwell a little into, tell me a little bit about the track record of where you started and now where you are. And I know there's some very deep stories here, so I'm going to start with you, Stephanie.
Okay, when I started Little Mushroom, it was 7.5 years ago now. It was just me. Quickly though, as things grew, I brought on a sous chef, and then I brought on a baker, because I am not a baker.
I won't be hiring you, okay?
And it grew. We tried to do some third-party catering, we try things out, see if they stick. They did not. So we used to do some catering for some of the hotels in town, and we did all the food for Balzac's when they opened at the Tannery. Not a good fit for us. We decided to go the route of doing full service catering. So we come in, we set up, we have all the food, do all the service. It's all of our own servers and bartenders. Do the cleanup at the end, and it all flows through our company.
Full service, right? From start to finish.
You know what I like about what you just said? You're not after everybody. Balzac's is amazing, but you realise it wasn't a fit for you, so you didn't keep them and say, well, we're going to carry on. You thought someone else can have that, that work, which is amazing work. So I like that, Stephanie. You're not greedy.
Well, and even with like the sandwich catering, like that kind of thing, we don't do a lot of the small business lunches.
That's good to know.
Right.
So we have a $500 minimum, so it's only for events.
So you've got your niche, you know, your target market. That's
So
great.
you, and I think we'll dwell into this a little bit, but really, you going along a road, and there's things that were roadblocks, and there's things that were green lights.
And there's always forks.
We'll come, and spoons and knives. So we'll come back to that. Nikki, tell us a little bit about your path to where you are today.
I started just over 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
It was me and my son.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a need that had to be filled, and we just started with a couple restaurants, and then we went, well, hey, we can keep this going. Let's hire some people and see how it goes, and that went well. And then after that, we were at about 10 restaurants with 3 staff.
Mm-hmm.
And the restaurants kept telling other restaurants, and other restaurants kept telling other restaurants, and they were calling us and asking. And so I just said, well, let me see if I can hire more drivers, and when I do, we'll take on more. And as I hired more, we took on more. As I hired more, we took on more. And then it grew from just the restaurants to now we take phone-in orders and text orders and online orders. I have I'm partnered with a dispatching software company, like a tech company,
Right.
Dispatch Ninja. What they do is they feed me orders from my website.
Boy, that must be hard. I like that.
No, it's great because they've given me the software to be able to give customers a way to order as well. So I'm not just restaurants now, and it's easier to market online than it is to go out there and put out flyers and everything else. So they've grown me again. In like a couple months, I've grown with more regulars on top of the
How
businesses.
did you get to know the software company, did you say?
They actually found me,
They found you, that's amazing.
which is great, through word of mouth of my restaurants.
That's good.
So they're the tech behind my dispatching software, and they wanted to make sure that in each town they give it to the right people, and like they don't give it. It's you know, like you pay for
But
your
they
monthly
chose you
fee, but
carefully.
they want to make sure they're not choosing the wrong
Yeah.
kind of
Sure.
service. So they went by reputation, and
That's a good
my
story.
reputation is what
I
partnered
like
me
it
with
when
them.
people like that improve your business, but they come out and find you.
Yeah, so it's
Obviously,
great.
they knew to find you.
Especially after
Yeah.
2.5
Well,
years.
And it came at the right time. I was looking to try and find someone to work with to
Right.
grow, because Skip and Just Eats were just opening up in town, and they were going to be my competition.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an online ordering platform. I'm the restaurants.
Yeah.
I'm the behind the scenes for the restaurants. So I didn't know how or where I could
It was
do
a
it.
good match for you.
Yeah, so it came at the right time, and it worked out amazingly for
That's
our
good, because
company.
you sort of found your niche, because those are very competitive entities now.
Very.
I know a little of your story, friends, so why don't you share your path to where you are today?
So, without giving away my age,
Actually,
I have been serving, or been a server for about 30 years. And about 1.5 years ago, I decided to open up my own restaurant. We've been open up for 1.5 years. And the restaurant's called Franny's. I have worked in different restaurants and people wanting different food, wanting homemade food, people coming into the restaurant, cooks saying, oh, you know what, we're not making that. No, we're not bending rules. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I had such a great clientele, it was time to do something on my own. So I ventured out and I tried opening a few different places. Didn't work. Finally, I found my home. We specialize in home-cooked meals. We do a lot of gluten-free dishes. I also started off with a baker. And
Bless you.
Bless
No
you.
worries. No worries.
And that didn't work, so I ended up saying, you know what, I'll do my own baking. So I started, and I can remember when I first opened up, and I'm turning the wheel of an apple peeler. And I was coring by hand, and now I'm happy to say I don't have to do that. Oh, God. My business.
hey, there's new
growing.
machines for that, right?
And I didn't know that.
Where is your restaurant located?
It's in between Kitchener and Guelph on the corner of Shant Station.
I shall have to visit you. I haven't had the chance yet. He lives there.
I'm glad
I've
you
been
live
known to
there,
go there a few times, yes.
So business has like boomed because I've known everybody, and people came in, they tried it, everybody loved it. Next thing you know, they're telling their friends, and their friends are telling their friends, and their friends are telling their friends. And my business literally went from here to kaboom overnight.
Wow.
When I first started off, I had 5 employees. I now have 26 employees. My big secret is homemade food, but everybody that walks that door has become family to me.
Oh,
There is so much love in that building, I can't even explain
What
it.
a better place to work, right? And I think you've all had that.
yeah.
My question though is, how do you handle capacity? I mean,
Yeah.
I know your business, Stephanie, it's gone. And, you know, all of your businesses
Yeah.
actually have just. How do you deal with that daily? I mean, you probably have hit constraints in terms of
You
what
don't
you
look
can
stressed, any of you. You all look happy.
do. Well, that's on camera, right?
It's because we're not there right now. We're here.
How'd you do it?
Well, I know for us, it's a lot of it is finding staff that I trust. So I don't need to be in the kitchen. I don't need to be meeting with every bride and groom. I don't meet with any of them actually. So the finding staff that you can trust is a big thing, for sure.
I think you put that right across the board, though.
Yeah.
Getting staff is
100%.
probably a challenge, right?
Yep.
And Franny, I think you have that challenge, and I also, Nikki, I think from a perspective of finding drivers, because the driving element certainly is a big impact in terms of the reliability of the driver. Right?
Huge, absolutely huge. They're I have my set 4 that have been with me for a long time, and I love them. They're amazing. And then I've got all these other, I kind of call them part-time flex drivers, because they work around their staff, school or another job and so on. But you want to make sure that they're all very clean, presentable, very nice manners, because you can end up with some rude ones and you can't keep them. Like you're presenting yourself as the restaurant, not as DCA delivery. So
It's really good.
It's
You have
absolutely
to.
important, and I think partly location is a bit of a challenge for you.
It is. I'm very fortunate and very blessed for the staff that I have. I've got great staff, but once again, if you don't drive and there's no buses, it makes it hard, right? So people rely on parents and friends, and quite often we're giving students rides home, because I do hire quite a few students because they can come and they can work 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and they're 5 minutes down the road. So
It's working though for
Right.
all of you. You're getting through it.
I think that's so important, and we're going to continue that story in just a minute. We have to take a break here, so I'm going to come back to you and we'll dig a little deeper into some of that stuff, and we'll be right back in the Small Business Show. So we're back with the Small Business Show, just getting into a really interesting story with 3 ladies who are in the food services business, and I'm going to get Linda to start. I know she's got a question on her mind, so I'm gonna get her to
Well,
go.
first I'm going to say I'm going to tell my husband about you girls because I don't like cooking. Dave used to cook, right? And all of a sudden I appear to be cooking all the time, so now I know who you all are. I knew most of you in it. So yeah, I'd love to start with Nikki. If any of our viewers are thinking they would like to get into your line of business, the food delivery, I mean, it's healthy to have competitors, isn't it, really, if you think about it? And the way I see it, nobody can do better than you as long as you're doing excellent as it is. So what are a few tips that you give to our viewers? Like, would you do anything different if you had to start again, for instance, or?
I don't think I'd do anything different because everything I did brought me to this point.
Excellent.
So in that sense, no. I think the best advice is know your market before
Yes.
you do anything. Be prepared. Because if
possible.
you have to, you can't just go and tell someone just like you're your only driver and say, yeah, I'm open for business. No, because you're going to destroy your business before you even started it. So do it slowly.
How did you pay your drivers before you had many customers?
Actually, all my drivers are basically self-employed.
Oh.
They are paid cash on delivery.
Okay.
So when they go to the restaurant to get the food, we pay the restaurant their
That's
bill.
it.
Then the customer pays the bill at the door, but we pay minus the delivery at the
That's
restaurant.
clever.
So now they're paid. And then if there's a tip, they get their tip as well. So my drivers are paid instantly. They get, to go home with a pocket full of money, and it's great.
Nice one.
I like your point about you need to know your market.
Yeah.
That's so important, and I like to hear that from business people because a lot of them don't. Stephanie, in your situation, how about some helpful information on
One thing that I've certainly learned is to write everything down. So whether it's a
on a tablet?
contract, whether it's a contract with the client, or whether you are doing a deal with a supplier, or whether it's with your employees, write everything down. So just make sure everything's documented. You know, I actually hate phone calls because you can't.
There's no paper trail.
Yeah, there's no paper
you
trail.
need that paper trail. It sets expectations so
Yeah.
your clients understand what those expectations are, and you set your expectations.
Otherwise,
and
he
so,
said, she said,
Yeah.
argument.
and that can cause problems in any business. Fran, what about your perspective? A little bit of a different situation.
There's not a lot that I would do different. I had learned a lot over the years on business because I did payroll. There's so many different avenues of a restaurant. There's front of the house, there's back of the house, there's payroll, there's deliveries, there's so many.
So you had all that experience.
I did, so I was very fortunate. But what I see is a lot of people come in and go, oh my gosh, think of the money you're making.
Yes.
But they don't
They don't
understand.
understand the
No.
margins.
It comes
Yeah.
in one door and it goes
goes
out
out
the back door, right? So I've had so many people that will come into the restaurant and say, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to open a restaurant, Fran. Can you sit down and help me? And I'm like, whoa, you need to put the brakes on.
So
because
is your tip really, don't think about how much money you're going to make in the first,
if
year.
money's why you're doing it,
Don't
then
bother.
don't do it.
We say that
Because
to
I know the
everybody.
margins in
If
the
you don't
food
have a passion,
services
get out.
are really razor thin to start with. So
Huge.
you really need to know what you're doing
You really
because it's
do.
so easy for you to go upside down on it.
Has it, sorry, but has
Okay.
it kind of confused you or been a challenge paying fair wages? It's definitely, we were talking about this earlier. Is it a problem for you businesses?
Absolutely not.
No?
Yeah, we've been certified living wage employers for almost a year now, which means that we actually get checked to make sure that we're doing
Really?
that. Yeah. So our dishwashers, who are fantastic,
Yeah.
and we want to keep them around, so we want to keep them happy. They
listening.
they make $16.10 an hour because that is our living wage for this region.
Excellent.
So, yes, the government put it up to 14 in January.
And you've gone.
We go over and above that.
I'll give you a little kudos because I know you're a very strong advocate for that, and I commend you on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you, Nikki? Is it a challenge for you?
Oh God, yes. Because of the nature of our business, customers don't like to pay delivery fees.
No.
So I would love to give my drivers more. Every day, I'd love to give them more because
you
I
don't-
go out and drive myself.
It's impossible, though, isn't it?
But you can't raise the delivery fee. We're already at the top of our limit where if we raise it any higher, we're going to stop getting orders because customers don't want to pay for
It's a
delivery.
different perspective. It's an interesting one.
So you kind of, like the restaurants, like, yeah, we understand, but the customers want cheaper. So we had to find a middle ground. And I don't think it's enough for what my drivers do, but that's where the tips kind of make up for it,
Okay,
right?
that's fair. How about you, Angel?
No, I can't say that I have problems with it. I have a certain quality of food, so I charge what is appropriate. I don't, you have a lot of restaurants that'll compete in town. We're not in town. We are a destination restaurant. We're not overpriced. We are just...
So you're paying your staff the same as Stephanie, the 16?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I've got wonderful staff where we all cross over in the kitchen. We all work together till the job's done, and I don't have a problem with paying fair wages.
But- Nice.
What would you say your biggest challenges today in terms of the, because it's a very competitive industry, and whether it's delivery or a restaurant or on the catering side, what do you think you would say is your biggest challenge right now?
We have some issues with our competition because we're competing against some very large entities and we're competing against some very small entities, and it's the many small entities that add up. Where if we're we can quote on the same event as a Wildcraft or a Binghamans or a those types of businesses, and we know that we're going to be delivering just as good, if not better, food and service, and et cetera, with a lot of the little guys who are starting out. There's a couple of them that we really try to support because we know that they're working out of a public inspected
that.
kitchen.
That's nice.
We know that they're
Competition.
insured.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so it's making sure that we'll support the little guys who are actually trying to do the right thing.
Lovely.
Right. That's positive. I think you've given us a little bit, but what would you think your biggest challenges today? I mean, you talked about the delivery fees. You talked about some of the competitors coming into your space.
Well, the competitors, they're a bit of an issue every now and then, but because of the reputation that my company has, that we've built and we stick by, like no matter what, we stick by that. If I can't do a delivery, on time, I will tell a restaurant, I'm sorry, it's going to be this long. Do you want to call your customer and see if they still want it? Or, you know, do you want to cancel? Or do you want to have someone else do it? I will never jeopardize my reputation. Because of that, that puts me ahead of the Skips and the Ubers and the Just Eats.
And you hear so much about the larger competition and the lack of customer service. And I think
And that's
that
where they
personal
lack
touch
it, and I gain it. Yes.
is incredible.
And you
absolutely
never
incredible.
overpromise and under-deliver, because don't do that to
no,
me, girls.
never. No, never do that, because then you're just hurting your business, right?
Yeah.
I'm honest with my restaurants 100% all the time. Even if I mess up, if I've, you know, done a logistical error somewhere and something's gone awry, I'll tell the restaurant, this is what's happened, and I'm sorry. I'll pay for your order. I'll make sure your customer's happy. I will explain to your customer what happened.
Because it keeps a reputation and it keeps people coming back.
And it
because you
keeps
treated
them
them
going to
right.
their restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, my goal is to never have a restaurant lose a customer. Even though they'll just move to another restaurant, but that's not what I want.
No. And I guess, have you got any?
Yeah,
sorry?
sure. Yeah.
Have you got any?
I don't have a lot. My only would be is for staffing, and I don't have a huge ordeal with staffing.
No.
So I can't really say that I have any
That's really
obstacles.
good news, isn't it?
Right. I don't really have a
That's
lot
hard
of
to say because there's a lot of people that
Right.
can't say that.
I've really worked hard, and I'm in my business. I'm there all the time, right? So having my hands on makes all the difference in the world, whether I just don't see any problems, right? That I would change.
Do all of you use social media a lot to kind of interact with the local community? Stephanie?
You know I do.
Facebook, mostly.
Just pretty much Facebook and word of mouth.
I must have been seeing your name a lot, Franny, because I think most of the SBCN members.
Everybody loves my butter tart.
Yes.
There's a revolution going on.
Yeah, so this past weekend was great because I was at a butter tart competition and made 1,400 dozen butter tarts.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of baking.
So
a lot of
Steve,
baking.
That's a
this
lot
has
of
been
baking.
amazing, hasn't it? This
Absolutely.
is absolutely. I'm so glad you ladies were able to come along and share with our viewers that you are making money, you are offering a living wage, you're enjoying what you're doing, but it's not easy. And you've all had different starting times and challenges, but it's worthwhile, isn't it?
100%.
You know, something that's come out in a lot of the shows we've done is passion, and I can see that in each of you, and I can see it in your eyes. It's just great to see that. I thrive off of that, so I'm glad
He's
that
passionate about
you
food.
could- let's not go there. Come on.
Steve, did you eat at home? No.
No, but I might had a butter tart the other day. But I think that's
Whereas
so
I'm at home
fantastic.
slaving away over a hot cooker. We've got a new barbecue though, so maybe Dad will start cooking more.
So thanks very much, Fran, Nikki, and Stephanie. It's been great to see you on
It
the
has
show.
been
It's been a fantastic
amazing.
panel. And we'd like to just thank you for viewing today, and we'll see you next time on the Small Business Show.
This program.
Welcome back to the Small Business Show. You know, I had an awesome time. I just think we had a really good panel and really got into some things. Like, the food industry is so competitive, and we've got some really lovely ladies here who shared their stories
Well,
today.
you know, we've picked our ladies carefully.
Yes.
They're very well known in the community. Very good brands. They have brand ambassadors. So they've inspired me. I hope they've inspired you.
I don't know that I have a choice. I'm surrounded. I'm outnumbered 4-1. But you know what? I think it's fantastic. It's been really a good opportunity to hear about the challenges that people face too, and every story is different.
Yeah, I just walk into a restaurant and say, feed me. But no, basically, it has been amazing, ladies. And as I say, every story is different, isn't it?
It is, and I think the other part of it too is that, and I think we talked about this before, about the passion that's coming out in some people, and we're seeing it. And like I said earlier, we can see it in the eyes of people, and I think we both feed off of that.
You do. You're always in a restaurant. Again.
We're coming back to food again.
It's a good segment. So yeah, it's been amazing. We love people coming on the Small Business Show to help our viewers, and we do seem to have a knack of choosing the community-minded people who want to help each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic, and I guess we'll try and do it again, and we'll be
We'll be
seeing you
back.
next time on the Small Business Show.